So when the Iraqi forces retreated, all the weapons and tanks were left in the hands of the opposing group.
So they took those weapons and they became stronger. With the retreat of the Iraqi forces and their arms being put into the hands of the terrorists, emboldened by a new sense of power and control, and again complicit support from many of the locals, ISIS were now stronger than ever.
They have to leave Christianity. They should become a Muslim. That's the first condition. Or paying the taxation, the jizya, which is kind of enslavement. You cannot really think. If we have accepted this in the 7th, 8th century and 9th century, but you cannot accept it in the 21st century.
If Christians didn't convert, they would have to pay an enormous tax, money that would have been used to further strengthen ISIS and their mission, the same method used to persecute Christians hundreds of years ago. And if they refused to do that,
they could be facing death. That's easy. If he refused to become a Muslim or paying the jizya, he would be beaten and could face the death.
It must have been terrifying for the people in that situation at the time, like a nightmare.
It is a nightmare just to think about it. And plus, who would be supporting you if you don't have a community, a Christian community around us?
When ISIS approached Karakosh, everyone fled, but Halis remained there until the last moment, clinging to the chance that they might be defeated. What would have happened if you didn't leave? If you refused to go, if you stayed here?
They were to kill me.
To kill you?
Yes, of course.
They murdered anyone working for the government or for the state without considering their type of work.
Archbishop Benedictus Ioannan Hanno is the Syriac Catholic Archbishop of Mosul and remembers the mass exodus of people starting to flee when ISIS came, having nowhere to go, and even worse, as Christians, feeling like they had no one to turn to.
Everyone was experiencing a state of chaos and horror till the late hours of that night. The situation was chaotic, confusing, and it was painful, filled with suffering, as we had to leave our homes and our churches. The most painful thing we experienced on that day, something that's hard to get over, was the disappointment we felt when there was no one there to defend or protect us. We realized just how marginalized we are in this country. And at the same time, it's so difficult for someone to be lost and fleeing in their own country without protection. So this was one of the things that caused us real pain, to have become refugees in our own lands, losing our identities. We were no longer identified according to our backgrounds and origins. Rather, we were only identified as refugees, and this was a painful word for us.
The people felt a sense of betrayal. Many believed there wasn't a huge effort put into protecting them as they were Christians.
This was painful for Christians because at that point we felt rejected in these areas. And so for all these reasons, the people were let down by the rulers, by the present forces.
But it wasn't just Christians who were targeted, it was also other minorities.
When ISIS entered Nineveh, they harmed all the groups living in the areas, and not only Christians, but they also targeted Muslims, Yazidis, and other groups as well, such as Kakais, Shabak, and Turkmen. They were all persecuted. Everyone was in danger. ISIS's danger did not only target Christians, but it targeted the whole of Iraq, everybody.